Good afternoon. My name is Paul Pettifer, and I am standing at Stellar Beans Coffee at 319 Broad Street. It's Friday afternoon. It's a gorgeous day, sunny and beautiful. It's the last Friday of Contraband Days, and I'm enjoying that. You can see the carnival rides behind me in the Civic Center grounds. There's the, I don't know if that's a zipper or not. I remember the zipper greatly from teenage days, and maybe I'll go ride it tonight. That'll be fun. So I'm here. I'm a church planter, right? We're planting this new church called the City Church, and so you might have a question about why do we need to plant a new church? We have a bunch of churches in town. The only church I can see from here is I can see the back of the cathedral, so that's great, around City Hall. But there are a lot of churches around here, so why do we need to plant another one? Well, that's a great question. I don't think I'm going to answer it totally, but I'm going to give you a start to it this afternoon. And the first part of my answer is that we are for the churches in this city. If you're a church and you follow Jesus and y'all are leaning into Him, we're for you. Every week we pray for a different church. One of our friends, people we don't even know yet, some we've heard about, we'll pray for you every week. So we keep a log and someone prays for a different church every week at the City Church. So we're for you. We're not against you. But I'm going to give you just 2 or 3 reasons why we feel like planting this church was what we needed to do, and it's the right thing. And the first one is that we believe we're following God in that. I know that sounds kind of odd sometimes. You might go like, wow, following God, how do you know that? Well, it's the process of time. You know, something stirred up in me a few years ago. I didn't know what a church planter was, but in the middle of assessing my life and what it was going on, and actually I read a book that kind of messed me up called No Perfect People Allowed, and I realized I was really pretty churched kind of guy, and I thought I was a wild man. I owned a business, I was a banker, I had lots of friends out in the business world, and I looked down and kind of assessed my life, and I realized I was pretty churched. You know, the language I spoke was sort of an insider language a lot of times, and I thought to myself, wow, that's kind of not as helpful maybe for people who didn't know what I was talking about, the way I did things. And so through that process, a lot of praying and just agonizing, really, thinking, what is this going on? And the result of that was for us and our team that, you know, like, this is what we need to do. This is what we believe is following God. Let's risk the ocean, as my friend David Crowder writes in his song Shadows. Let's risk the ocean and ask God to do something phenomenal in our city. And so that's what we believe we're doing, is following God. Second reason that you might want to plant a new church is because if you look at the data in America, if you look at how much money you spend and the leaders you commit, that planting new churches is the most effective way for new people to discover God in the United States. That doesn't mean that just because you plant a church that automatically all this fantastic stuff happens with God. Sometimes there's bugs on your face. That's good too. But if you look at the data across the country, and you examine that, like, man, the most efficient way, the most effective way to help new people discover God is through a new church. So that's great. We want to do that. When you have a new church, you don't have several things. You don't have a lot of money, right? I'm unpaid volunteer, so we don't have money to pay a pastor. We don't have a lot of structure. We don't have a facility. We rent Stellar Beans Coffee from the awesome Smith family. They're very kind to us, and we so appreciate their generosity. And you don't have some of those things. You also don't have some limitations, right? You can, if a new idea comes across, you don't have to have as many meetings to decide that's something you can do. You don't have to get the board's approval necessarily. You can be empowered to make that step. So, for example, we were a part of the launch of a movement here called Homework Night earlier this year. And that was something that was entrepreneurial in nature. And my friend Willie is kind of our point leader on that. And so some of us have really walked along and partnered with that and want to see the city different, the parish different, because of people of character connecting with children in need to deliver help and hope through positive role models and tutoring, which is what the mission of Homework Night is. I said a few of those things backwards. But so you don't have money, you don't have structure, but you do have flexibility, you have ingenuity, and you also have a little urgency, right? We need to be effective, or maybe the church won't take off like we were hoping. So you have some urgency because you have to grow. You have to make this movement take off. And so we're creating a culture at the City Church that is about community, about Jesus, and about city service and renewal. And so anyway, I don't know if I answered my question very well, but I wanted to start an answer to it today as we're talking about May the 15th. We're having a little gathering here to discuss what it looks like to plant a new church and maybe your part in that. So my name is Paul Pettifer. I'm a church planter, and God is for you.